So before we get started, I've got something very important to ask. If you could hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell, that means so much to me. These things are extremely important to YouTube's algorithms. And actually, only about 7% of the people who watch Against the Tide Media's videos are subscribed. Now in the past 3 years we've been up, our channel has gotten about 500,000 views, which is incredible, but that's still pretty low in comparison to other YouTube channels who cover similar topics. And with truthful and meaningful projects like The Chosen, The Shift, and our own up-and-coming streaming series, Anti, we've got a lot to share about, and we could use your help in this journey. Thank you.
I think working with our cast and our crew, it's so important to find people who add value to your project and to any endeavor, really.
All right. Well, hello, everyone at Against the Tide Media, and thank you for joining us. My name is Janira Reyes Clack, and I have the absolute privilege of interviewing Miss Vanessa Benavente, who portrays the character of Mother Mary on the Chosen series. So welcome, Vanessa.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Janira.
Yeah, no,
good to meet you.
Thank you for allowing us to get to know you a little better and get some insights on your portrayal as Mother Mary in the series. So for starters, as a fellow Latina, I'm curious to know a little about your cultural background. For example, where are your cultural influences from, and maybe where did you grow up?
Yeah, I'm actually very happy you asked this question because I've heard around, like in social media and the internet and stuff, that I was born in the States, and I was so not born in the States. I was born in Lima, Peru, born and raised
awesome.
Peruana. And I was there until I went to college there for a few years, and then I transferred to the States. So, most of my childhood, all of my childhood was spent in Lima and part of my young adult life. Then I haven't been back to live there, but I have been back to visit. But I am a Peruvian at heart and now also a proud American. So
that's amazing. How often do you get to go back to visit?
Oh my gosh. So before, I probably used to go between every 2 and 4 years. It sounds like a lot, but mostly because my mom lived here in the States and then she moved back to Peru for a while. So I was there a little bit more often, and now she's back here. So I don't really get a lot of chances to go back, which kind of kills me. And obviously, since the pandemic started, I really haven't been in many places, but I'm so dying to go back. I have so many friends from college and school, high school. Yeah, it's a treat to go back there and see everyone and eat a lot of food.
Well, hopefully you get to go back soon and can make it more frequently.
Yes, because I haven't been. For example, I would love to take my baby there. She's 3. She has, we haven't been since she was born. So would love to, take her there and introduce her to everyone.
Yeah, fingers crossed very soon.
I know.
Yeah. So curious to know, what got you into acting? Is there something you always aspired to do when you were growing up?
I kind of sort of did. And when I say sort of, it was so surreal to think of an acting career when I was growing up there. At least in Peru, acting was something either it kind of fell in your lap, or you were a seasoned theater actor, but it wasn't something that gave you a steady income or a steady job or anything. So it was a little crazy to think, I'm going to go into acting. Like that's probably not the first thing back then, at least. There wasn't even an acting degree you could get in any college or anything. So even though I loved performing since I was, like yay high, it wasn't really something that I necessarily thought of, I can make a living out of this, or I could, I could do this as a career. You start getting older and all of a sudden it's there all the time. It's kind of like haunting you. And you start wondering, because I went into engineering, not in the arts at all. I'm also a math nerd, so it makes perfect sense. But and so, I thought, I'll go like the sensible route and I'll get a degree. And if I can do this on the side or like a hobby of some sort, then, I'll do that. But it was, I think, more powerful than me. And so it kept finding me too. Like I would, I was in college and all of a sudden like, oh, there's this choir. Would you like to join? Sure. And so all of a sudden everything was about the choir. Or there's this play. Would you like to be part of it? Sure. And so all of a sudden, like all my activities were all artistic and dancing and, acting and singing. And so there came a moment when I was really confused. Again, this is in Peru. So I was like, this is just like a pipe dream. And then I moved to the States. And then it started becoming a little bit more real because, I knew people who went to college for theater, to get a theater degree. And I was like, you can do that here. It was like kind of, a bit eye-opening as to where my heart really wanted to go. But I finished my degree and I, kind of like closed that chapter. And then I said, I have to give this a try because it's been in my life for so long. It's just this thing that just won't go away and won't leave me alone. So, and I did.
It's amazing. So you have
a
your
long story,
engineering degree and you're actor. That's amazing.
Yeah, which has helped me. I mean, granted, I don't think I've ever really gone back to doing engineering, as a career, like put everything into practice. But a lot of the things I learned there did come in handy for just all the jobs that you have to get when you're an actor. You have to make ends meet. So
when you came across The Chosen and maybe heard about different acting opportunities or casting opportunities, out of all the characters in this series, what interested you in playing the role of Mother Mary? Unless kind of like some others, you initially auditioned for another role, but landed this role.
You know what? I did not. A lot of the cast initially auditioned for other roles, but I didn't. And like I always say, this I didn't find this character. This character found me almost. And it's also the way it works when you're a struggling actor. It's not many times you don't get to choose, and it's really, when you find something or when you get cast in something that is it has such great writing and such great potential as this show had when I joined, you just you feel so fortunate just being there. It's amazing. I got to Mother Mary through the audition route. My rep submitted me for the project, and the casting director picked me out of a lot of many people that she wanted to see at her office. And which, if you've worked in this town, if you've done any acting in LA, how hard that is. Just getting the audition sometimes is a triumph. So it was one of those things where, you're kind of on like that dynamic where you get auditions and you go straight to the material. You kind of give it a read and see, oh, okay. I think I know what you read the description of the character, and then you maybe do some research about the producers and about what this project is about. But when I saw the material, I was like, oh, wait, what? So I had to kind of like do a double take. We're like, oh, that Mary Mother, something like that. It was like, it hadn't really registered, especially when I saw the material. She had a sense of humor. She talked in a way that I recognized as a human being. Sometimes the language in biblical shows is very elaborate and is very detached from what you consider, normal people talking. It was such a fresh take on this woman. By then it's like, oh, I hope I get it. I hope I do a good job. And it was just like, at that moment, it's like, you just hope you do a good job so that you can get a call back, maybe. And I have to say, it's one of the best auditions I've done. And everything I set out to do, somehow I was able to do it. Even more so, like the casting director kept giving me notes and why don't you try this way or try that way. And I kept really hitting key moments that I felt very good about my acting, about how I was delivering. And then I didn't hear anything for like 5 days. And I was like, what do I have to do to get a job? I thought it was like one of the best auditions I've been on ever. And I still couldn't get a call back. And I was like, I don't get it. What is this? And so I'm super bummed out. And then by day 5 or day 6, it was just like, okay, you booked it. You're flying out in 8 days or something like that. And so it was great. It was really cool. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't get to choose much,
Yeah. And they kept you on suspense for a little bit.
Yes, they did.
Oh, we're very glad that you got the role. You're doing an incredible job at it.
Thank you so much.
What was your family's response when you landed the role for Mother Mary?
Oh, wow. I guess only my immediate family really knew about it. My grandma's sister, who became kind of like my grandma after my grandma died. She died when I was very young. She was a very devout of the Virgin. And what we call the Virgin Mary, right? In Latin America, I think and it, from the start, I just felt like I was honoring her some way. It was very special for me and for the relationship I had with her, who had passed away the year before, actually, 6 months before that. And also, it's one of those things where nobody knew the show, kind of like, oh, that's so great, honey, and then that was it. But then afterwards, after a lot of people have seen it and know what the show is about, even family members who, I've grown up with these people, like they know me since I was a baby, and they almost like look at me like, oh my God, that's so cool. How do you feel? It's like, it's so special for them. And it really, it's one thing when you touch people with your performance. All of a sudden, when people that have known you forever can somehow leave that image of you behind and connect with the character that you're portraying, to me, I'm not going to say more special or less special, but it's something that really it is special for me. It touches my heart. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And it is part of the kind of the skills and actors, just making sure that the audience isn't, even those that know you, it's like, okay, this is me, but I'm portraying this character. And like,
For
I want
sure.
you to feel it. I want you to know this character. And so I understand you describing that feeling of like people are that know you're disconnecting you and like seeing this character come to life. And that's amazing.
Yeah.
So you obviously have to undergo a transformation for this character. So how long does it take in hair and makeup to turn you into Mother Mary?
Oh my gosh. Initially it was a little longer. The first season was quite brutal. It was 2 hours to put on and 2 hours to take off, because it's not only when it comes on, but also the taking off, and also the taking off. They do such a fantastic job just taking care of my skin, which is something I really appreciate them doing. Because actors, this is what we work with. This is our livelihood right here. So anyway, but then they were able to cut it down to about an hour and a half, an hour and 40 for the second season. They kind of streamlined certain things, and then taking it off has been also wonderful the second season, because it only takes about 35 to 40 minutes, which is fantastic, especially when you've just shot like a night shoot, like you just did a night shoot and it's 4:30 in the morning and you just want to go home, and you still have 2 more hours of makeup chair to look forward to. That was brutal. That was bad. First season was quite brutal in that.
Well, I'm glad to hear that they did speed up that process. And wow.
Yes.
Till 4 a.m. Wow.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, there was the last day I shot, the very, very last day, I basically got home at 6:30. I had to be out of the hotel by 7 a.m. because my flight left at 9. So yeah,
Ouch.
no, it was pretty bad. Yeah. I ended up in the hospital after that. First season.
What?
Also because, there was a lot of things going on, but also because I had been working. See, I had a job when I booked Mary Mother, but I could not say no to a project like this. And I was working in casting. So, and we were starting a project. So it wasn't like super necessary that I was there, but a little bit. I was in Texas. I was still working my job remotely, back when remotely, nobody worked remotely. I was doing it before it was cool. So I was doing that. I was nursing my baby. She was 10 months old at the time. And we had to fly out to Texas with her and my mom, because I was still nursing her. And it was about a 2-week shoot, like a little under 2 weeks. I couldn't leave her. So we all went there. The stress, I mean, it was just one of our suitcases was just baby stuff. It was so much that we packed into those 2 weeks that I was in Texas, that my body was like, I'm out. No more. So I got here and I started feeling very bad. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go to the hospital, because maybe they can do something so that I can go back to work. Like, that was the idea. Just give me something, whatever, but I need to go back to work. They're like, nope, sorry, nothing we can do. Just rest and you'll probably feel better. It was something to do with my stomach. I don't know, but I think my body just went like, peace out.
Yeah, it sounds like it was like a forceful rest. It was telling you,
yes,
you got to slow down, girl.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I think it was something like that. But anyway, now it's just a fun anecdote.
Something to look back on that you could laugh on now, not then. Oh man.
That's right.
Well, you mentioned having a baby girl. And we're wondering how has your own experience of motherhood influenced your portrayal?
Oh, wow. Everything I think about it. I particularly remember reading that scene, that very, very, very first scene in episode 5 of season 1, where Mary's looking for Jesus and she hasn't seen him for 3 days. And I don't think, I mean, it's not like I wouldn't have been able to portray this if I weren't a mother, but it's one of those things where you can feel it in your gut of what can this woman be going through after 3 days of not seeing her child.
I looked everywhere day and night. We were so scared.
I told him, he's okay.
Why is everyone so upset?
Mary, he was in
You were
the...
supposed to be riding in the caravan with Uncle Robison.
I was supposed to be with my father.
Then why weren't you?
I was.
You were in the temple?
It was incredible, Mary. You should have seen him. He was teaching when I found him. The rabbis, the scribes, the scholars, they could not believe their ears. They barely let us leave.
Didn't you know I must be in my father's house?
It is too early for all this.
If not now, when?
Just help us get through all of this with you. Please.
I felt like I understood the stakes a little better. There's just something in your being, not in your being, in my being. I'm talking about me because a lot of people, I'm sure, portray mothers wonderfully, and without them having to be a mother. But for me, I think being a mother has really opened up so many experiences for me because it changes your life. It just does. And it has opened so many more images and experiences and how your body feels a certain way. So yeah, I mean, I think everything about it has informed my performance.
Nice to have like personal connections and bringing the character to life. Yeah.
Yeah, I work like that. I know a lot of people don't necessarily. I know a lot of people work with imagination and they don't necessarily bring their own experiences to their work. I do. It helps me to understand what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's me.
So you mentioned a scene already, but I'm not sure if that would be one of your favorite scenes. So what would be one of your favorite scenes, if not that one?
Oh, wow. I think it would have to be the campfire scene in episode 3. You know, that first, the one where I come in at the end and I was so stressed out waiting for my cue because it dawned on me at some point that, oh, if you mess up, then there's 60 minutes that just, go into the trash, and the poor cameraman has been holding onto that camera for 60 minutes, and you come in and you go, "Whoops, my bad." I cannot do that, and so I was very stressed, but it's also like that adrenaline that just like that rush that just gets into your body, and it's so cool. But then also when I read that episode, it's so cool how the action, the interesting stuff, if you want to put it that way, all the miracles are happening elsewhere. I'm sure Jesus is doing a whole lot of miracles to these, he's healing people. He's, if you want to make a show, maybe that's what you want to show. You know, it's more showy, it's more interesting, more eye-catching, if you will. And Dallas said, no, that is going to be the background. And I'm going to show how these people are feeling, are interacting with each other, the problems that are arising. And I thought that was brilliant, just brilliant. And then you have, you know, a middle-aged woman talking about some of her frustrations.
But he was crying and he needed me. And I wondered how long that would last. He doesn't need me anymore. Not since we taught him how to walk and eat. He hasn't needed me for a long time, I suppose. As a Jew, I'm excited to see everything he does for our people, and I'm proud of him. But as a mom, it makes me a little sad sometimes.
Just a middle-aged woman talking about her frustration, just like, that is not something that you see a lot in television. But then go a step forward, and this woman is not just any middle-aged woman. It's the mother of Jesus talking about how she feels now and how she feels a little less useful in her child's life. It's something that I think resonated with so many mothers, so many fathers out there. How your child turns, you know, right now I'm in like the honeymoon phase where she's 3, she needs me for everything. It's mommy this, mommy that. Whenever daddy comes home, it's like, daddy! And it's fiesta, you know. And then they turn 13 and they could care less about you. And then 10 years later, they're gone. And so all that love, all that, you don't know where to put it. And it's so universal. It's so universal. And Dallas was so brave to have her talk about something like that. It's, I don't know. Everything about that episode. And then how all these tensions arise, and it's like the first time we see that they're really going at each other, and Jesus comes in, and how powerful that image of him just exhausted after a whole day of nonstop healing and giving himself to others.
Good night.
And how it ties in with his mom coming to help him, and how she is in fact needed.
Oh, Ima. Thank you.
You got blood on your hands. One more. There we go.
I'm a mess. Good. What would I do without you, Ima?
And just talking about it, I'm seriously like, I mean, everything about that episode is to me is it's exactly what The Chosen is. I think it's like one of those episodes where it's like, this is what this show is about. It's not, they're not going to show you, you know, the showy stuff, or we're not going to concentrate on what we've seen all the time. it's really about human interaction, is about human needs, feelings, and realities, and it's just so powerful. So overall, and that monologue that I had to say was just, a treat for any actor. So yeah, I think I would say that scene is probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, it is a very powerful one, and as you say, it's showing the human interaction. It's what we all experience, and sometimes we don't see that, we don't know that in characters if that's not written into the script. And clearly, The Chosen has done pretty good at doing that. So, thank you for sharing that. That is a very heartwarming experience and scene. So for the purpose of time, what is one thing that you can let your viewers or can tell them what to look forward to in season 3?
Oh my gosh. Season 3. I wish I knew more. I can tell you that. Right now we haven't even looked at scripts or anything.
But it looks like we're past that.
But I know there's a lot of fan favorite characters coming back. So that's really something to look forward to. And then I think they're going a little bit more in depth with certain characters we haven't heard a lot about. So, like I said, I haven't read a single script, so I might be completely wrong. But yeah, even for us, getting the scripts is super exciting because they're so well written. I mean, I devour them like a book. But yeah.
All right. So what has been the most challenging aspect and why?
Oh, wow. I think the most challenging, and it's something I don't really think about when I'm working. I think partly because the scripts are so well written, I just I stick to what the script says and forget about everything else. But just the fact that I am portraying someone that so many people have such a personal and close relationship with. And I think a lot of them have their own image of what Mary Mother is and does and how she must have behaved. And, it's one of those things where I always say these characters or these people, we feel like we know them because, we've read about them since we were kids. But do we really know them? It's because, do we really know them in the sense that as humans, and not what they did and what they stood for and all those things, but as human beings, because the Bible says so little. It's not like they give you a complete biography on on these characters. So we feel like we have a very close relationship with them, but that can vary from person to person. And so I feel like the most challenging part of it is keep the thought of, oh my gosh, am I doing justice to the image people have of Mary Mother while I do the work? And like I said, I think about that very little, which is a good thing. But every once in a while I go like, I remember it and it's like, oh my God. And then it just goes away. But it's like a sudden terror, just gets a hold of me. And all of a sudden also looking forward to season 6 or 7, or, if we do get to those stories. There's such a, at least for me, such a big responsibility when it comes to portraying her and and what she must have gone through. Oh my gosh. Like I flat out, I can admit to you, I don't know what she went through, not then or even, in the earlier part of the story, but it's like that responsibility of wanting to do justice to the woman she was. That's, I think, the hardest, but the most challenging. I could say the makeup too, but that's less. I mean, that's just part of the job, and I don't know. There's a part of me that really doesn't mind it. I kind of worry about my wrinkles and whatever, but it's just like it's not really that important. The other part is more pressing, I guess. But only when I think about it. And like I said at the beginning, I try not to think about it. I try to focus on what's written on the page, and it's so well written, so beautiful. And it's also a good thing that nobody has like a picture of her, like an actual physical representation of her, that you can say, oh, she looks nothing like, or she walked differently. Nobody knows. So I have freedom in that sense to kind of,
You bring her to life. Yeah.
I try. I give her, a lot of myself. It's because I always say, like, characters, being actors, when you portray a character, every character that you work on is there to teach you something. But this is true with every single job, even the ones you don't like. There's always something to be learned. And when you portray characters like these that are almost larger than life or have become larger than life, there's a sense of, oh, this person has to be, you have to fill all the that like the size of their image, of the image that you now have of them, like the people have of them. But you kind of forget that they were people, and they, slept and ate and drank and got hurt. So I feel like the smaller and the more details I can give her from either my life or somebody else's life that I think could apply to the moments that I get to portray, then just go smaller. The smaller, the better. Concentrate on those.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That's really insightful to learn the challenges of bringing her to life and in acting. And I think, it's kind of good that we don't have that imagery or, this is how she walked, this is what she looked like, because as an actor, you can bring her to life in that, and through this. It's
definitely, it's, at least for me, it's lucky. It would the kind of work that I would have to do would be completely different if I were portraying, I don't know, like someone who, it's very well known, or you have a lot of pictures, audio, it's a different kind of work. But definitely with someone that you've never met and nobody has ever met, it's both a challenge and a little bit easier because you can take certain liberties.
Agreed. Well, since working on The Chosen, what has been the most surprising thing about working on the project? Whether it's working with the other cast members or the crew, casting crew, like what's been just surprising with working on the project?
There's so many actors and artists out there that are just incredibly talented, and they don't get a chance to be in a show that really can showcase their abilities. Because a lot of the people on this show, they're not known. This is one of their first major projects, and everyone has such, everyone is so good, even day players. It's mind-boggling how the artistry and the attention to detail and it's beautiful to watch them work. And I think to myself, like, how lucky for us to have had this opportunity, because if this were a network show, if this were a show that had a studio behind it, or they would have needed a name actress for Mary Mother. They wouldn't have gone through an audition process where you pick someone that is completely unknown for key roles like this. Or for Mary Magdalene, John, Peter, you probably would have gotten name actors. And the fact that this show didn't, and my castmates are just like mind-boggling good at what they do, is something that both is kind of sad, because you feel like there's so many artists out there that just need an opportunity, or just need a story that a character that really showcases them, So I don't know if this qualifies as surprising, because I've met a lot of people that are so good, and they just don't get many opportunities, and it's a little heartbreaking. It was just, I guess, a good reminder of how many people are out there that are just so talented. I think that's the only surprise that it kind of comes to my mind. That, and I guess also the fans. that was surprising, because it was unexpected. I remember Dallas telling me this, actually, when I was doing the makeup tests for the first season. He was like, "Oh, your Instagram is about to blow up, girl." And I was like, "Oh, really?" Just like not really understanding anything. Because I always thought, oh, fandom it's a little scary, and because there's people that are, you'll get mixed messages, people who don't like your work and people who love your work, and you get a mixed bag. But everyone is so nice and just so loving and supportive, and it's just such a treat. We really have the best fans. Seriously, they are so sweet, willing to share their experience with the show, and their own experiences, how they relate to the show. And it's I guess that really was a surprise from this whole thing.
Yes, there are a lot of fans out there. So the series has brought in a lot of support, and I'm one of them. Yeah.
That's so cool.
What's something you would say you've learned from working on The Chosen that you want to carry with you into future projects?
Oh, wow. Professionally, I've learned so much. And not only from being on set and working, which is in itself I always say, actors are like athletes. We have to keep ourselves trained. So just the fact that, being in front of a camera and having a script and working with other people, that is just in itself an enormous opportunity to keep exploring what you can do and how your body works, and how your mind works. And what comes next, sort of easy to you, or what you have to work on a little bit more and stuff like that. Which, you know, professionally, it's a huge, it's a great opportunity to keep your skill set, you know, in tune. I think working with our cast and our crew, it's so important to find people who add value to your project and to any endeavor, really. This is something, you know, I guess everybody knows, but at the same time, it's so, and it doesn't necessarily mean that people have to be good at their job. It also means people who are willing to go that extra mile, and people who are, you know, are willing to really put in the hours, put in the work, because they believe in something greater than themselves, which is kind of, I guess, a metaphor, but a very apt one, I guess, because a show, it's a sum of its parts, and it all goes back to faith. And I don't mean faith or only faith in a God, whatever, you know, religion you may practice, but also faith in that something is going forward, faith in that things will turn out okay, faith in that you know, if you're working on a big project, that other person is there to support you, like that kind of faith. I feel it's something that I admire a lot in my character. So I feel Mary really has faith. She really puts her life in the hands of God.
Your son is...
My son is a homeless nomad who no longer brings in income for carpentry.
And you're smiling about it.
I'm smiling because he is doing what he was born to do. And maybe sometimes that means we will be hungry for a few days. But at least his time has come. Sometimes he is as much a mystery to me as he is to you.
This is literally her life's work, her child. That level of trust, of faith, is something that I felt personally was lacking in my life quite a bit. You know, trusting that it will be okay, things will turn out okay, and relying on other people that are there that will help you move forward. I think this project is really something I'm always in awe of, all the things that they are constantly doing to get the word out and to surprise their fans. And you know, it's very special, and I think they reap what they sow. You know, they make this show with such love and such dedication, and they really want to make it special for the people watching. People can feel that. And, you know, many times in Hollywood, you feel like a lot of people are just in there to collect a paycheck sometimes, you know? So that's a little sad. And to be a part of something that is, that really values their viewers and really values, you know, the quality of the content they're putting out there. It's just beautiful. I really count my blessings. I feel very fortunate.
It almost sounds like it's like gravitating towards those that are supportive and as you say, almost a sense of comfort to like support in the growth as well. So it's and yeah, professionally, and then also I think that like hits on the personal too, like just trusting and being confident moving forward.
Yeah, I don't know if anything of what I said made sense, but but it's always something in my mind of how it really, a lot of the time you feel like lost in this world, and you have to do it alone, because nobody's going to come here and help you, or nobody's going to have your back. And a lot of the world right now feels a little like that, a little like everyone's just kind of like their little parcel of their little space. So to be part of something that is not doing that is actually doing quite the opposite. And to be surrounded by people who are also very supportive, because the cast is not only amazing in terms of their artistry and talents, but also, the way we support each other is very special in personal ways, So I think I've learned a lot from all aspects of this show. And I don't know if I can carry it on to other shows, because as we just get hired. So sometimes it's hard, but it's definitely like a standard you want to achieve. Like if I were to produce my own show, then that's the standard. Now that's the standard.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that there is a lot to look forward to. And
yes, and the theme of the 5,000, which is already, been announced. So I'm excited to see how that is, because, the Sermon on the Mount was really special. So
yeah. Well, thank you so much, Vanessa. And we'll probably be hearing more from you in the upcoming season. And just thank you for your time and getting to share a little more about your experience playing this character.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me again. And looking forward to seeing what comes next.
All right. Well, everyone out there, Against the Tide Media, stay tuned for other Blitz interviews. For now, God bless.
What? Were you expecting there to be a blooper reel here or something? Wonder why you'd think that. Wow, you're really still here. Most people, they just click away as soon as the credits start rolling, but I mean, hey, props to you for sticking till the end. Oh, I mean, I'm probably gonna just put an ad here or here, because we are a monetized YouTube channel. Wow, you're really still here? Okay. Well, I mean, as long as you are, you could hit that like button, notification bell, comment, subscribe. All those things help the algorithms go up. Yeah, it's helpful. Well, anyway, I'm probably gonna go to bed or something. Thanks. Toodaloo.